I'm Srihari. I am doing internship at LEXIS and Company. I am studying at President's University of Bangalore. Today my topic is rule of law, which is one of the most popular topic that we study under Constitution Law Paper 1. Where if you talk about the rule of law was attributed by Sir Edwin Coke, which is following propounded by one of the famous philosopher A.B. Dicey. So if you talk about this theory, it was derived from the French phrase where it means the principle of legality. So here the firm basis for rule of law theory was being propounded by by the famous philosopher A.B. Dicey, where his theory was most common and popular in terms of rule of law. It has followed by the three pillars, which is based on the concept that is government should be based on principle of law, not of men. There are so the three pillars, or I mean the three principles, are supremacy of law, equality before law, and predominance of the legal spirit of the legal law. So talking on the concept supremacy of law, supreme means it is all over the king under all set categories. Where this is always basic understanding of a rule of law that gives that law rules over all the people, that is persons administrating the law. As we study under the three organs of government, what does judiciary means? It is an independent body where it has its own control over all the authorities, where it can take its own decision. So the lawmakers need to give a reason to be justified under law that accessing the power and the administrative law. Equality before law is the second principle. Equality before law, as you know, it's a common term where the principle of a democracy sets a common criteria where in before the law all are equal in irrespective of whatever the religion caste may have. Here the concept of rule of law is codified in Constitution under Article 14, that is Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the preamble Article 7. And the third, I said the predominance of legal spirit of legal law. What does it mean? Here it is one of the requirement for the rule of law. He believes that the philosopher Dicey believes that it is insufficient to simplify that including above two principle is a constitution of country or other laws which has been set by state to be one which the principle rule of law have been followed. So here he more talks about emphasize on there must be enforcing authority and believing that the authority could be found in the courts. The court are the enforcers of rule of law and they are the most impartial and free from all the externals, like the for example Supreme Court. Supreme Court means what? It is the court where the High Court and subordinate court, it is one of the final court where the final decision have been made, where there is no external influence, or it is free from all the bias, where it can take its own decision and set the final decision which is set by the Supreme Court. Thus the freedom of judicial becomes one of the most important pillar of the rule of law. So these are the three concepts which is being followed by the A.B. Dicey, one of the philosopher, where I will where it talks about the supremacy of law. As I said, it's a supreme. The word supreme gives us the meaning. What does it mean? This is always one of the basic understanding of rule of law that is propounded by the rule of Dicey, where it is controls over all the persons administrating the law. As I said about the example with this three organs of government relating to this, you can interrelate with that or correlate with that. Second, equality before law, as you know of the Article 14 of Constitution and the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, and it's stated in preamble. Whereas predeterminance of legal spirit, this is one where the Dicey believed that insufficient was to simplify including the two principles of the Constitution of country, and he said that courts are the enforcers of rule of law and they must be partial and free from external influence, as I compared with Supreme Court, where I said about an example within three court under it, whereas High Court and subordinate court, where it is impartial from both and it has no external influence. It is free from external influence, where the appeals from the High Court is being going to the Supreme Court, where Supreme Court takes the final decision. So here the freedom of judicial becomes an impartial pillar of the rule of law. So these are the three rule principles, or we can say the three pillars that is stated by A.B. Dicey. In modern era, if we think these three have been applicable in this field or in this era where it talks about the supremacy, rule of law. We can relate to so many other aspects, not only constitutional, also so many other aspects. If you want to know more about like the theoretical application of rule of law in India, whether it is followed in India by the rule which is followed by AB Desi, in my sense I think so, yes, because the Constitution of India intend for India to be a country is governed by rule of law, where it provides the supreme law in the land and legislative executive authority that is from the Constitution. A law made from the Constitution has its own conformity with the Constitution and falling which is declared as invalid. So here this was explained by one of the two famous cases, that is Chief Settlement Kumar Punjab versus Om Prakash and Secretary State of Karnataka versus Uma Devi. These were the two famous cases which were talking about what was the aspect of rule of law. In this one of the case, judgment was being derived that in our constitutional system, central and most characteristic feature is the concept of law, which means the authority of law sets all the administrative action by standard legality. And one of other case, that is Santhavan Singh Sohai, that spelling is SATVANTSINGH versus Dharma Ramatana. The Supreme Court held that an executive action operates the precedence of any person must be supported with legislative authority. So here by these examples and by the cases, by the concept which I explained by the Desi, the three pillars of this his concept, we can say that yes, some sort the rule of law has been applicable now also, and it's been exercised by our lawmakers and the authorities. This is what about the AB Desi rule of law and its three pillars and two famous cases which I explained, and whether there is a scope and application in India. If you have any doubt, you can please comment on the chat box. Soon as I will answer your queries. If you like, please share, comment, subscribe. This video is for only educational purpose. Thank you.